Good morning, Red Mountain. My name is Isaac Anaya.
I'm Nathan Smith, and on this episode of Red Mountain Radio, we got two students from Marine Bio. Go ahead, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Abby, and I have been a part of Mr. Demassa class for around 2 years now.
Hello, I'm Landon, and I've been a part of his class for also around 2 years now.
Now, before we kick off the podcast, around 2 months ago, the Red Mountain family lost one of our favorite fishes by the name of Dave, a red devil cichlid. So before we kick off this podcast, let's have a moment of silence for Dave. Thank you.
What do you like most about marine bio?
Personally, for me, I really like marine biology because it teaches a variety of subjects. So it's not just about fishes and whales. You learn lots of different things like geographical locations, there's a lot that goes into marine biology, and you learn about so many different creatures, from the smallest protists that the eye can barely see, even under a microscope, to the biggest creatures in the world. So there's just a lot you can learn, and it's very intriguing and just very captivating.
And I'm going to bounce right off that and say, the class itself is fun in itself while learning about all the different things inside of it. You're learning about all these different types of animals, but then just inside the class, it's always every day it was fun showing up and just doing the work and then also learning at the same time.
What's the most interesting thing inside of Mr. Demassa's class?
Ooh, there is a lot of different things that you can find in Mr. Demassa's class. Personally, one of my newest favorites have been in the back rooms. We have recently gotten some rats, which I think are really, really cute. Inside the actual classroom, though, I would say one of the most interesting is definitely the clownfish.
Yeah, clownfish are definitely a nice touch to the whole classroom and the environment. Just looking at every single tank, you can just see the variety inside of every tank, and then just walking through the classroom into the back, you can see all the different, the hard work that's been put in through every tank and all the different animals that you can find.
You said you had rats?
Yes, so there are 3 of them. They're very, very sweet, and they are kept in a cage, so they're not running rampant.
Are they domesticated?
Yes, they are. They're not wild rats. In fact, rats are actually quite nice creatures and pets. They actually are very clean, and they're very cute, surprisingly. You just have to, you have to see them to get used to it, but they are very nice. So they're not New York City rats. But
it's kind of like the stereotype of every rat. It's just disgusting and gross.
Yeah, and actually when it comes to marine biology, a lot of the different creatures that are in the room can be seen as creepy or weird. We have a wolf spider, we have a new pink-toed tarantula, we have lots of different kinds of wacky fishes. But during the course of the marine biology year, when you start to get acquainted with these creatures, you begin to see a lot of the different beauty that can be found in these creatures, both in the water and on land. And
so what other creatures do you study in marine bio that's beyond the ocean itself?
You will begin the year with more ancient stuff and stuff that's gone extinct, like mammoths and stuff, and then you dive into marine bio, and then near the end of the year you're going to mammals like polar bears and just different animals that interact with animals but are not necessarily in the water,
like penguins.
Any fun stories that you can tell about marine biology that are funny or memorable to you?
Ooh, where do I start? There is a lot of different things that we do in marine biology that are fun. Personally, one of my favorite stories was when we used to have a sea urchin that was in the clownfish tank. Throughout the year, especially in the spring, the sea urchin would often produce sperm, and we would watch the clownfish eat it.
Oh God.
And it was so unexpected. But that, along with at the very end of the year on the last day of school, Mr. Demassa does something called Disney Trivia, which was really
Jeopardy?
Yes,
Yeah.
Disney Jeopardy. We all got very, very heated during Disney Jeopardy. Especially me. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. But it's just wacky stories like that just they catch you off guard, but they are very memorable, and it makes the class very enjoyable. But yeah.
Do you guys still have the sea urchin or no?
No.
The sea urchin is no longer there.
He passed away over the summer. The heat got to him.
All right, let's get another moment of silence for the sea urchin. Thank you. Landon, do you have any funny stories involving marine biology?
I don't know. The whole class is just like a fun experience. Like, there was always off days because every class has days where you just got to sit down, grind, get all the work done. But then there's always that one day at the end of the week where Demassa's screaming, Jeopardy's going crazy, everyone's having a good time. And even if you don't know the answers, like, it's still a fun time just seeing everyone go crazy. And then also, well, because this year I've gone more behind the scenes, so it's fun just interacting with all the people that are so passionate for the animals, and then also just caring for the animals. And you can just see how, like, a fish can be more than a fish if you actually take time to, like, look at it.
Now, we've been talking about Mr. Demassa a lot. Do you guys know anything about Mr. Demassa? Like, can you tell us more about Mr. Demassa himself?
I've gotten to know Mr. Demassa really well personally. Mr. Demassa is an amazing teacher. He is very engaging with students. He always tries to make an effort to get to know them and engage with them and just overall be fun and make the class engaging and memorable, because in a lot of different school environments it can be hard to focus or like get engaged in subjects, but Mr. Demassa just always like has this like ability just to make everything interesting somehow. And as I mentioned before, we do Disney Jeopardy, and he has a few daughters who work at Disney, and so sometimes he likes to bring Disney references into lessons or trivia or in Jeopardies. He also is very involved with the school, so he just knows everybody. And so he's just very fun and caring and overall really enjoys his job. So, and it shows through all of the effort that he does in the classes and whatnot.
I'd say one thing that really stands out about him when you get to know him better is he's very family oriented. Like, in all of his lessons or like in his everyday life, he tells stories like from his life and like from past experiences, but then he loves talking about his kids and like their accomplishments and like everything they do. So that's one thing that like really stands out about him and like really shows through his personality.
Now, he is very decorated in what he says. Can you guys memorize one thing as like a famous saying that he always says?
Observation is the key to life. That's the one that stuck with me the most. Observation, when you observe the world around you and observe people, you learn a lot.
He does love talking about how everyone is ignorant. So if you are in his class, you may or may not get called ignorant at least a few times, because that's something he also starts off the year with. Like, everyone thinks ignorant is like a bad word, but like he really like sets the tone and like establishes like it's not a bad word. It's just like stuff we don't know. So like he uses it to like help us further our education on the topic.
Do you recommend marine bio for anybody who like just wants to learn about the world of the sea?
100%. Personally, for me, science is not my strong suit. I am an artist. I strive creatively, but marine biology, even if you like aren't interested necessarily in like the ocean or fishes, it's just a really good experience. And Mr. Demassa teaches more than just marine biology. He teaches about life and life lessons, and like it's just more than that. So I would say definitely I would recommend marine biology as a science class to take.
And yeah, going off that, I wouldn't even say as a science class necessarily, because I took it last year and I took it as an elective just because it sounded like an interesting topic. And although it is based like a science class, it still is a really fun class. And if you take it as an elective, it's still very fun. So it's not anything too much to worry about when you worry about like a science class.
All right, well, thank you both for coming in, talking about marine bio with us.
My name is Isaac Anaya.
I'm Nathan Smith, and that's all for this episode of Red Mountain Radio. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a great day.